1,000 apologies to all of you on the panel. Sorry for being late. I thought the panel discussion was at 2:30, and I thought I was going to come in and have 1 hour, relax, look around, and get into the discussion, but I was rushed in and had to keep you folks waiting. So once again, 1,000 apologies. I think the discussion today and what we speak in the panel will be far more interesting than a quick run of the presentation. Today, as 23 ends, my practice is going to be 23 years old. So right from the earlier on, before I actually got into mainstream architecture itself, we got on to discussing and forming a philosophy. And that philosophy is something that I hold very dearly all through the practice and even now, and hope to take it further in the same way. So whilst we do talk of new materials, which is an absolute essential, I think Bhakti through Anamolia and Tejas and all are already on their way. My practice has not really gotten into creating new materials as such, but we're looking at using or recycling material. So I'll quickly run you through. Right from the beginning, we've talked about these ideas, which form this kind of acronym called BLURS. And strangely enough, BLURS, if you spell it correctly, is kind of leading to a sense of an ambiguity, something that you can't recognize earlier on. And therefore, processes in our design are extremely important, which by and large, a lot of people are now talking about the process being itself the end. And if you engage in the process itself, then there are different ways of achieving the goal or reaching the destination. Sometimes the destination is the process itself. So going back to saying what this stands for, B for beautiful, we've always endeavored to make our buildings, our projects, our objects, anything that we engage in as beautiful as possible. Beautiful, of course, has many connotations, and that needs to be discussed. Lasting, most important, you want what you build, what you make, what you manufacture to last. I know in today's day and time that's something that most of us don't adhere to. We want to change, we want to throw away, we want to consume and dispose. So lasting is something quite the opposite of today's fashionable trend of consumerism. Indigenous involve regional crafts. It's very important to have some kind of a system, some kind of methodology, some kind of engineering that's local in some sense, rooted to the region where you're from or where you're building, and therefore creating a kind of craft that's engaging the local people to get into the craft of the making. Recycle, of course, extremely important, something that's been very dear to me, and something that we learned from our great-grandmothers, grandmothers, mother-in-laws. I learned that from my mother-in-law mostly, where we used to get into little tips where I was like, why do you keep, keeping little bits of food or little tattered pieces of cloth or an old book? But she would keep on at it, collecting and repairing and recycling. And I learned it from there, that it's very important to not throw away, not dispose. And so recycling what we have is extremely important. A lot of our projects, and the one that I'll show you, has used this in a very big way. Small, the most important to sustainability is to keep your projects small. Use less resources. If you can, don't build at all, but if you have to, keep it small. So we do profess against very large, over-consuming, built environments, houses, airports. Everything seems to get into the category of the bigger the better, but we strongly believe that it needs to be small. I'll just run you quickly through the pictures because I know we're running a little late and I'm really keen on having this discussion. So process, like I said, very important, but I'm going to skip through this. Project images. This one's using all kinds of mixed material debris. So it's broken bricks, broken stones, mixed with a little bit of concrete and created walls which were cast, like you would cast concrete. It also creates thermal insulation. It allowed for a lot of hollow spaces inside the walls, because of which I could get my services in and also avoid or reduce the actual air conditioning required. In fact, the client has just got the entire AC system dismantled because he said it's cool enough. So I thought that was great. That's the house. You can see the mixed material walls with stone. There's a certain way in which you have to do this, but that requires a little more of actual manual labor, but there's really no great technology. This one's a building outside of Bangalore. This is using extremely local material. So this material has actually come out of the site. The site was a granite hillock, so we pulled material off the site in the sense that we got granite from the site itself, and then there was a quarry that was less than 30 kilometers from the site where you only got slabs of granite. So the entire building is built in with composite structures, much like the temple walls. Again, indigenous, absolutely made by the local craftsmen. Hindu community hall built by 100 Muslim workers who toiled making each and every piece of stone, bringing it in place, and copied the technology of Hindu South Indian temples. So this is the granite building on the same site. We also recycled a lot of the eucalyptus. These were termite-eaten eucalyptus, which I thought were actually beautiful. So it's how you look at things, it's how you perceive things, is how you discern things. And I thought these were lovely. So we actually got them to clad the steel columns. And sorry, this slide should have been the first one, but that was the inspiration. On the way to this site, you see this huge granite hill, which is all along the highways outside of Bangalore. And those are the temple walls that we actually emulated. This building is called the School of Dancing Arches. You might have seen it. It's much talked about. This one has a speciality in the sense that it's built out of bricks. The arches that you see are also done in a very indigenous way, where there's really not much reinforcement. They were designed, and the entire sense of these lopped arches, so these arches are not even symmetrical, they are asymmetrical arches, was actually arrived from this idea of how children scribble. And this was a school for little children, tiny tots. And so you can see the derivation of the scribbling turning into lopped arches that went into actually becoming the arches. This one here is a wall, a section again of a larger project where we've actually literally used demolition debris. All across, you see buildings that are coming down, and there's a lot of debris that's created that usually goes as backfill or as filling into the foundations of your building. And this was something that I have been watching and looking at very closely, and when I got an opportunity, we kind of jumped in. I've also used coir. Coir, when mixed with cement, is an extremely insulative material. It is not only acoustically sound, but it is also thermally insulative. And of course, we had the broken brick bat koba in the roof. That's the pavilion we did for the Kochi Biennale. It was inspired from the big, large roofs that you get to see all around Kochi, and a lot of buildings that were coming down, which had just piles of debris everywhere. This entire building, as you can see, the roof is made out of brick bat koba, which is again broken bits mixed with cement and mud. Walls, that is also pure debris that is coming out of buildings that was just next door, so we just had these little tempos coming in the whole day. And here it is, you can see old trees again. The flooring is made out of waste. We had these panels that added a little bit of poesy to the building. Industrial fans, no air conditioning, and I actually had people who messaged me saying they just go into the pavilion to cool off, and it was really mentioned that nobody expected that the pavilion would work. These walls were 600 thick, and if they were made wet, you actually felt like the AC was on, but there was no air conditioning. So yeah, that was the inspiration. I think that's kind of inverted somehow, I think. These lights were supposed to come. That was the inspiration. Lots of debris and large roofs in Kochi that created that pavilion, so I'm really sorry about that. This is a wall that we built in Jaipur. Very interesting. I'm using this concept again. This was a 3-foot thick wall that had everything inside it, from the kitchen to your electrical systems, to toilets, to a refrigerator, to bedrooms, to a staircase, to a dining table and its chairs. It was designed as an installation, but we're able to now use it in a real building. And if these walls became homes, they were like, you could scatter them all around, just build walls that were homes and live outside on a veranda. So that was the idea here. And sorry if I've taken too much time, but we'll get back quickly.
Thank you, Samira. Thank you.